Do you think an army is power? But what if against it stands Zeus himself? Imagine, across the plains of Italy, thousands of Roman legionaries march in perfect formation, iron helmets with horsehair crests, chainmail forged from hundreds of interlocking rings, massive rectangular shield, each like a fortress gate. Crimson or purple cloaks billow over their shoulders. In their hands, gladi, short steel swords, and pila, heavy javelins capable of piercing both shield and armor. Boots studded with iron, caligae, leave marks in stone and history. These are not just soldiers. They are a living machine honed by centuries of war. And now, facing them, Olympus. Zeus upon his throne, surrounded by lightning. Athena in helmet and spear. Poseidon wielding his trident, summoning tsunamis. Ares in warrior's armor, but with eyes burning with madness. These gods are not merely powerful beings. They are the apex of the mythological pyramid, rulers of the universe. In Greek mythology, the gods live by a strict hierarchy. At the top sits Zeus, king of the gods, master of sky and thunder. He is father to many gods and mortal heroes alike. Beside him stands Hera, his wife and protector of marriage. Below them, gods presiding over different realms: Hades, lord of the underworld; Poseidon, ruler of the seas; Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategy; Apollo, god of light and art; Artemis, goddess of the hunt and the moon. Each is like a minister in a divine government, possessing their own authority, yet ultimately answering to Zeus. At first glance, this is an unfair fight. The gods are immortal, capable of controlling nature, healing, flying, shape-shifting. One lightning strike from Zeus, and an entire legion turns to ash. But here's the thing. Romans are not just soldiers. They are a system. Even if a god kills 100 men, the Romans replace them with fresh troops. They have supply lines, reserves, a command structure. They don't panic. They build a camp while lightning crashes nearby. Yes, the gods are stronger one-on-one, but in war, even against gods, numbers, discipline, and tactics can prevail. The Greek gods are like final bosses in a game. The Romans, they're a cheat code called organization. Let's recall what a Roman legion looked like. One legion, about 5,000 men. Full complement, infantry, cavalry, engineers, medics. They built fortifications in hours, crossed mountains, forded rivers. At the Battle of Cannae, despite a devastating defeat, surviving legionaries maintained order and retreated in formation. This was no mob. It was a living organism. Their armor wasn't just protection. It was a symbol of discipline, helmets with crests so commanders could spot their men in battle, chainmail that could withstand a sword's edge, the scutum shield, made of wood, reinforced with leather and metal, unique to each legionary, emblazoned with the legion's insignia. Sword at the belt. On the back, a marching pack carrying a tent, a pot, and 2 stakes. The Roman soldier was ready for campaign, siege, and battle, all in one. And now, the gods. Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategy. She could obliterate a legion with a single spell. But what if she chooses to play smart? What if the gods begin acting as commanders? Then this is no longer a battle of gods versus mortals, but a kind of mythological operation. Yet the gods are not a disciplined army. They are proud, selfish, prone to quarrels. Remember the Trojan War? The gods didn't fight for one cause, but for their own interests. Athena supported the Greeks, Aphrodite the Trojans, and Zeus tried to maintain balance, but intervened whenever he pleased. Here lies the key. Romans represent a collective mind built on discipline. The gods, individual forces. Even if Ares charges into the ranks, slashing left and right, the Romans simply adapt. They use distance, hurl javelins, set traps, encircle. And what if a god grows tired? Even immortals can grow weary if myths are to be believed. The Romans, meanwhile, rotate their soldiers every 6 hours. Their strength lies in infinity. The gods are powerful but alone. The legion is a system capable of resisting even miracles, but as long as the miracle doesn't destroy everything at once. The gods can kill a legion, but can they defeat Rome? Imagine Zeus, in fury, reduces a legion to ashes. Charred shields, no survivors. Impressive. But in a month, a new legion marches. In 2, 3 more. Rome does not depend on a single unit. It is an empire. It has cities, roads, a navy, laws, taxes. Even if the gods destroy the army, Rome will rebuild, because its strength lies not in its people, but in its system. And here comes the wildest story of all. In the 1st century AD, under Emperor Caligula, something happened that sounds like a joke, yet is recorded by several ancient historians, including Suetonius. Caligula, one of Rome's most eccentric emperors, decided to conquer Britain, but when he led his army to the shores of the English Channel, the soldiers saw the stormy sea and refused to cross. So Caligula declared war on the sea god Neptune. Yes, you heard that right. He lined up the legion on the beach, ordered horns to be blown, and commanded his soldiers to collect seashells as spoils of the sea. He even had a temporary tower built and seashells hitched to a chariot. In his words, this was a victory over Neptune. Of course, this wasn't a real battle, more of a symbolic act. Perhaps he mocked his soldiers. Perhaps he truly believed himself a god, for Roman emperors had begun to proclaim themselves divine. But this story is the perfect example of how Rome played with mythology. It did not fear it. Even if the gods existed, Rome bent them to its will through discipline, irony, and power. But the most fascinating thing isn't war with the gods, it's how Rome absorbed them. You see, the Romans originally had their own pantheon, gods who presided over order, family, land, and war. Jupiter, supreme god, protector of Rome, guardian of law. Juno, goddess of marriage and female virtue. Mars, not merely a god of war, but father of Romulus and Remus, the legendary founders of the city. Vesta, keeper of the hearth. The Numina, ancient spirits of nature and place. But when Rome expanded and conquered Greece in the 2nd century BC, Romans encountered a rich Greek culture, including its mythology. Instead of rejecting it, they did something brilliant. They identified Greek gods with their own. Zeus became Jupiter, Hera became Juno, Athena became Minerva, Ares became Mars, Apollo remained Apollo, the Romans loved him unchanged, Poseidon became Neptune, god of the seas. This wasn't just a name swap, it was religious integration. The Romans built temples, held festivals, performed rituals, now enhanced with Greek grandeur, sculpture, and philosophy. Greek myths became part of Roman education. Young patricians studied Homer in Greek, yet the Romans preserved their essence. Their gods were stricter, more bureaucratic. They didn't meddle in mortal affairs for amusement. They demanded pietas, duty, respect, ritual observance. The Romans had no trickster gods like the Greeks. Even when gods shared names, their characters often differed. Mars, to the Romans, was not merely a bloodthirsty warrior like Ares, but a dignified, respected father of the nation. So who is stronger? In a one-on-one fight, the gods. No contest. But in war, Rome. Because gods can kill soldiers but cannot break discipline. They can destroy a camp, but not stop the building of a new one. They can rage, but the Romans will build roads through the storm. Caligula might have been joking, but Rome never was. It absorbed myths, just as it absorbed the Greek gods, renaming them, building temples, making them part of its machine. The gods ruled the heavens, but Rome ruled the earth. In the end, immortality isn't always an advantage. Discipline, logistics, and the will to win, that's what makes an empire eternal. The Greek gods remain in myth. Rome remains in history and in every stone of the Appian Way. So, if Roman legionaries ever stood against the Greek gods, the gods would win the battle, but Rome, the war. Like this video if you believe discipline is stronger than lightning. Subscribe. Ahead lies more myths, broken down by logic. Until the next video, hold the line.